Welcome to Reread. We're on book one of Aaron Alston's Duology, Rebel Dream. It starts off, and I'd totally forgotten about this. Lando is in it for a little bit at the beginning. He's in this battlefield, and it's hilarious. He's talking to the, I can't remember, AA-1 using Vong droid, and there's a lot of witty banter in between. He's almost as funny as L. Neil Smith, almost. But Aaron Alston made me laugh the whole way through these books. And the best scene is when there's some rebel agents or whatever, and the Vong are just tearing people up, and there's just blood guts everywhere flying. Lando's ducking down into a hidey hole, I guess, with the Vong droid who's just blasting people Vong left and right, and it's just a bloody battle. And he looks and he sees two rebel operatives hiding, like cowering in fear, and they're behind explosives. He went, "Are you cowering behind a pile of explosives?" And they nodded at him like, "Yeah, we know. This is crazy, right?" I can see the whole image. It's only Aaron Alston can make this comedy work. And you can see the image. He was such a great author. You could see the imagery here. And it's a hilarious scene. And again, I bet he got that from an old war story. He probably talked to some people or read a book about, World War II or something, where people were so scared they were hiding behind a box of ammunition, and they knew how crazy that was, but they were so petrified it was the nearest place to hide. But I promise, I bet that's where he got that idea. But when you read stuff like that, it feels real, and you start laughing. Aaron Alston is such, I've said this before, he's just such a great author. Just really good. Anyway, Luke says that he's ready for the Jedi to be a part of this war. They're not going to innocently stand by. They're going to do something. But oh, you mean like Kip has been doing this whole time? And see, this is what I hate about it. Now, of course, each author takes the situation differently, and Kip kind of gets redemption here. Like they stop. I guess Aaron Alston goes, "This is ridiculous. Why we keep on picking on Kip, because he's doing exactly what the Jedi should be doing from the start." Now, Kip doesn't say, "I told you so," or "It's about time." Kip's very humble. And Jaina still makes one or two swipes at him, I think, in this story. Like, "I still haven't forgiven you for trying to trick me, but I did trick you on a few things, so I guess we're even." What he did was not wrong. So, and now that Luke wants to join the battle, and that was one of the most frustrating things about Luke, with me reading it the first time and finally going, yes, finally. But no apologies to Kip, I guess. Can't say we're sorry, but of course that's because he's not Corran Horn. Luke only apologizes to Corran Horn, and maybe Mara. There's another awesome scene I love, that during there's a space battle in this one, that a Vong ship gets hit, and all of a sudden the captain of the Vong ship just doesn't realize what's happening, because he's looking out, instead of his bridge, he's looking out into space. And he's seeing all, some of his men floating out into space. And then suddenly he gets very cold and curls up to a ball, because he's trying to get warm, and he's floating out in space. And then he dies. It's so awesome. Aaron Alston, again, gives a vivid description of what it's like to die in space. 1 minute on the bridge, the next moment he's still at his, chair or captain's rail or whatever, and he's looking out into space from his ship. And suddenly he gets cold and he starts curling up, because he's, the gravity's leaving him, and he's now leaving his ship and floating out. The imagery, like what's happening, but you're seeing it from the Vong's confused standpoint. Brilliant. There's just some brilliant imagery here that I had just forgotten. I mean, honestly, some of the best stuff I've read so far in the New Order on my reread is in this duology here. Han is going crazy. He's flying crazy. He thinks the gunners on the I think it's a Republic cruiser. He tells Leia, "Wow, those gunners are just awesome." And he said, "They're picking off these coral skippers left and right." She went, "Han, they're shooting at you. They don't know who's the good guy and who's the bad guy." Han's like what? But Han's throwing them off, so their guns just missed the Falcon and hit the coral skipper. But Han's thinking, perfect timing. I swerve, and then you hit him right behind me. Way to go, team. Han doesn't know if anything's wrong. He doesn't realize that it's his expert flying that's keeping them alive. Again, Aaron Alston, you combine great action, a great scene, with good humor. I'm just loving it. I'm loving it. Jaina doesn't consider Kip to be her real master. She says that Mara's always been her real one. That's not what you said earlier. And this is the problem with having And like, this is a small complaint, but when you have multiple authors writing a continuous story, the characters, their demeanors, their, how they act one way and change the next. It's a problem I hear about the New Jedi Order, and I'll be honest, I didn't believe it was that bad. I said, it can't be that bad. But yeah, Jane is like a 160 character from when Elaine Cunningham wrote her in this one. And he asked me, well, who do you like more? I don't know. Maybe Elaine Cunningham's version, because that was the version we were kind of, the road we were going down. And then suddenly, Aaron Alston's like, no, I don't like Kip. Mara Jade is still her. No, she says Mara Jade isn't anymore to Zach. She's like, yeah, Mara Jade will always be special to me, but Kip is my new master. But in this one, she has the exact opposite thought. Kip is not my real master. It's always been Mara Jade. Kip's always second. That's not what you told Zach, and that's not what you told everyone when you confirmed and when you affirmed your decision with Kip. Because Kip said, what about Mara? Forget Mara. She can't teach me what you can. You are going to be my master now. That's what she says. So, I mean, again, sometimes the book previously wasn't completed by the time Aaron Alston was reading his stuff. So maybe Elaine Cunningham added that stuff in, and then Alston did his stuff, and, what's done is done. But again, it's just kind of frustrating that Jaina kind of does a little bit of a 180, in fact, on this thinking. It doesn't feel like Jaina from the previous book. Again, small complaint. That's what you have when you have a continuous story picked up by several different authors, where one has to, you're reading the rough draft of the other author behind you while you're writing yours. Troy Denning told me this. That's why, who was it? Walter John Williams had a tough time because supposedly Matthew Stover, Troy Denning lovingly told me this, Matthew Stover had so many good ideas for Traitor, he kept changing them. He's like, Matthew, he went, stop. He said, decide on something. You're killing Walter John Williams. He's always having to change his story up to whatever Matthew Stover was coming, because he kept coming up with these great ideas. Anyway, the next one that I do love this about Jaina. Jaina reflects on how Han's piggybacking Tark, I think, the Anakin lookalike kid or something. And Jaina remembers that it was only just a few years ago where she was getting piggybacks from her dad, which was true in Young Jedi Knights. And it was just a few years ago. And you start thinking, oh, they've grown up so fast. But that's the point. That's the New Jedi Order is the coming of age story of the twins. This is where they go from side characters to main characters. And that just 2-3 years ago, she was piggybacking on Daddy. You kind of get choked up about that when you read stuff like that. I loved it. I love the imagery again. Kip talks about his love of Jaina, and he says that he does not love Jaina. He cares about her. He thinks he can make her happy. Yeah, he doesn't love her, but it's more like Han cared for me, and I care for her. Yeah, I guess I could learn to love her, but I don't love her now. So I think that kind of puts it to rest that he was never, he was questioning his interest, but it says he knows he doesn't love her, but he also agrees that he thinks he can make her happy. But then he kind of runs through his thoughts about, why do I think like that? Maybe, Han was kind of a brother, an older brother to me. They say brother, which, to be honest, he's more like a father. It's more like a father, because, Han, by the time he finds Kip, is in early 40s, maybe? Well, maybe not. Maybe he's mid-30s or whatever. But Kip's like 14, 16, something like that. That could be father-son. I don't know, but they try to make it older brother, younger brother type of thing. Either way, Kip basically says no, no to Jaina, or no about Jaina in his head. Jag and Jaina kiss in this. They become a couple officially, and Kip is happy with Jag. He doesn't hate Jag at all. So again, there's no jealousy here. I know Elaine Cunningham maybe was moving for a love triangle, or I don't know what, a square. Do you add Zeke in there? He was only in there for like a little bit in the running, but Kip, he's happy with them together. So again, I don't believe any of this Kip and Jaina stuff. Anyway, this is the scene. This is the book that 3PO is looking at the sparks and watching them die really quick and wondering what the life of a spark is. And if it doesn't even feel death, it just winks out from existence like a droid. And he and the AA-1 unit that Lando walks around with have that discussion. And I could not remember for the life of me which book it was in. Of course it has to be Alston. What a brilliant... It's even better than I remembered. Because 3PO is talking basically philosophy with this droid, and 3PO just doesn't know what happens. And he understands the symbolism of what the spark means, but he doesn't know, he kind of fears it. He fears winking out of existence. And he asked the, AA droid to think about it, and if he has any, I don't know, pontificate on it or whatever he said. I don't know, well, he didn't say that, but he said, if you give me any findings of your results. And he went, yes, I will. And you do the same. And 3PO goes, of course. And 3PO continues to watch the sparks as they drop and wink out before they hit the ground. It's a wonderful scene. It's wonderful. Overall, Rebel Dream is excellent. Excellent novel. I can't wait to talk about book 2 next time.